Alright, hello YouTube, I'm Gearwrecked, and I'm back here again today with another reaction video for you, and this time it's going to be r/stories about Kevin. Kevin represents himself in court, and very poorly, I might add. Now, this was requested a while back, and I'm finally just now getting to it. Again, I don't exactly know what all I'm going to get into, but I just know for a fact that this is going to be a lot of complaining, and somebody is not going to do a very good job at defending themselves in court. Now, to most people, you wouldn't do that. Especially if you have no idea what the fuck you're doing, and you're probably going to say something that's going to fuck yourself over in the long run. I would suggest hiring a lawyer, especially if you're this dumb. Especially about the things with Kevin's and Aaron's, I guess, at this point. But you get the idea. They're not known for their genius, and I'm not talking about like normal Kevin and Karen people that are named that. I'm talking about the people we call that because they're crazy or whatever. But you get the idea. With this, let's go ahead and get right into this video.
Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some
Hello, Oz.
stories about Kevin for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my
Please do,
opinions, and I
because
hope you
this
do
is
the
about
same
the only
in the
video I could
comments
find
below.
on this, so.
And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Data laughing. My friend tries to divorce Kevin. When we were all younger and dumber, one of my closest friends married the craziest Kevin I've ever met. My friend had just come off of a very bad relationship that she'd been certain was going to end in marriage, when, in reality, the guy was cheating on her while using her to support his wannabe pro-golfer existence, then dumped her when someone with more money came along. So she was in a bad place. A few months later, Kevin appears.
Kevin needs to go the fuck away. And she should know better and tell Kevin to fuck off at this point. Because what a piece of shit.
The first time I met Kevin was when the two of them showed up at my apartment to announce their engagement. Since I'd met the previous guy that she was seriously dating just a month before, I know they couldn't have been seeing each other very long.
Sorry, my allergies are bad.
Turns out Kevin proposed 5 weeks after their first date. Maybe she was a bit of a Kevin too for saying yes at that point, but like I said, bad place. It's hard for me to accurately describe Kevin without dipping into being mean, because
No, be as mean as you need to be, because this guy is a piece of shit. So be as mean as you need to be, because pieces of shit like this kind of deserve to be ripped apart. A new one.
I never liked him from that first meeting. It was like he really wanted to be one of those hyper-masculine, manly men.
Which don't exist, by the way. They're just egotistical dumbasses.
But didn't quite know how. He liked to take any opportunity to bring up in conversation that he was a black belt. I remember the first time he said it because I asked, "Oh yeah? In what?" And he looked at me like I was an idiot. "In martial arts." "Oh, right, yeah. Of course." He also would talk at length about how much he worked out. Turns out he didn't actually work out at all.
Isn't that the case? Isn't that the case in most cases? Sometimes they don't really. Sometimes they don't really at all.
He liked to think of himself as a car guy because he had a sports car he couldn't afford and treated it like his baby. He didn't actually know anything about cars, but he had one. So car guy.
Car guy. That's not how that works, and I don't know jack shit about cars, and nor do I want to, so I'll be upfront about that. I don't really give a flying fuck. If it works and it gets me point A to point B, that's all I give a fuck about.
But the thing that really got up my nose about the guy was that he prided himself on how very smart he was. He'd make the most outrageous claims with the most pig-headed certainty. He just knew these things were true, and if you disagreed, even if you showed actual physical proof that he was wrong, he'd just condescendingly tell you that you didn't understand these things like he did, and go on with his idiocy. Just as an example, he once declared that you can't break the law at night.
Excuse me? That has nothing to do with it. Is this guy genuinely this stupid? You can't break the law at night. Motherfucker, you can break the law at any given time during the day or night. What the hell are you on? Law is law, motherfucker.
What exactly does that mean? We still don't know. He won't elaborate. As a second example,
that makes
he
sense,
had trouble
yeah.
getting a fire going.
Because he doesn't fucking know what he's talking about.
He was home alone one day. His solution? Mix up some homemade napalm from a recipe he found on the internet.
I'm starting to understand why he won't talk about it now. I'm pretty sure this motherfucker's on a list.
It was a huge disaster. set the kitchen on fire. Luckily, my friend arrived home in time to grab the fire.
This is why I always said, you know, maybe we should remove warning labels and just let stupid sort itself out in some cases like this, because it'd be much better to get this level of stupid out of the gene pool. I'm just saying.
Extinguisher.
That's just my
Yet
thought
he
process, you know?
insisted, doggedly,
Just being
that
honest.
he knew what he was doing. And really, this was the best way to get the fireplace going. And
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm dumb, but I am not this fucking stupid. I have common sense.
obviously, she just didn't understand because she didn't know as much about this stuff as he did. Sorry, I know that's a lot of setting the stage. One last important thing to know.
Yeah, but it's all important details to know how stupid he is.
The divorce I promised. Kevin was a religious nut. I don't mean he was crazy because he was religious. I've known many wonderful, intelligent religious people in my lifetime. Kevin was a crazy person who used religion as his MO. He would randomly proclaim, "The Bible says," to support whatever other crazy thing he'd said.
Yeah, no, we hate those kind of people. But I say I am pretty religious myself, but not like that. I won't sit there and quote off, well, this says this, and this is whatever. I mean, no, he's just justifying wanting to be a piece of shit, and he's just using that as an excuse. I find that insulting.
Mostly people let him get away with it because, hell, the Bible is really long and says a lot of crazy shit.
Also kind of true, but that's a fair point.
Who could say that someone
doesn't change my opinion.
didn't actually say whatever insane thing he was claiming?
Exactly.
And besides, who wants to confront crazy? Even when the claim was something insane like, "The Bible says that birds are of the devil." Yes, this is a thing he said one day when he was angry at birds for some reason.
To my knowledge, that has nothing to do with it, and I don't remember any of that, so I think he's just making shit up, and he is lying and full of shit. That's just me. Let's continue.
I was raised going to church twice a week, once upon a time, so I knew a bit about that particular book. And I had a pathological need when I was younger to call people on their bullshit.
I do that all the fucking time, no matter how bluntly it is. If I can sense some bullshit, I'm at least gonna tell you directly to your face.
We often butted heads. Unsurprisingly, when confronted, Kevin could never actually tell you where in the Bible it said you should.
Because he doesn't fucking know. See, we set the scale. We know where it is. He is not religious. He's just making this shit up, and he is just using it as an excuse. That's where we are.
Didn't take the first slice of pizza. Yeah, he said that too, but it didn't decrease his certainty that it was in there. So, as
It is
anyone
not.
but the two of them could have predicted, the marriage didn't last.
Gee, I wonder why.
He became increasingly erratic, forbidding her from speaking to friends, including me, because the Bible says so.
So, on top of being full of shit, he's also controlling. Yeah, gee, I wonder why this didn't last and was good. Yeah, this makes total sense.
Hitting her because the Bible says she has to do whatever he says, and he's allowed to beat her if she doesn't. Stuff
I was right, he is a piece of shit.
like that. So she left. And here is where the wackiest Kevining begins. She gets a lawyer to initiate the divorce proceedings, and the first thing that comes up is the house. They bought the house from his parents. More precisely, she bought the house from his parents. He had terrible credit. As a result, his name wasn't on anything related to the house. He also had no job, meaning he never made a single payment on the house. As far as she saw it, the house was hers.
This checks out, and I would have to agree. If he's done nothing to contribute towards it, then yeah, legally stating that it is hers.
His mother, who came into town to support her son through his misfortune, didn't see it that way. They declared that the house still belongs to the mother and threw all of my friend's stuff out on the lawn. Friend's lawyer gets a preliminary hearing date set up to determine the initial dispersion of important stuff like the house, at least until the divorce proceedings get all sorted. So, friend's lawyer says to Kevin, "Have your lawyer contact me to set up a meeting before the hearing." A meeting is set up, and who arrives at the lawyer's office but Kevin?
Oh, here we
Dressed in
go.
jeans and a windbreaker, claiming to be Mr. Steele, the lawyer. I shit you not. He decided he'd be his own lawyer, and he'd call himself Mr. Steele.
I'm sorry, I can't take it seriously. Oh, Lord, the level of ego of this man. Somebody needs to pop it because it's too big to go through the door. Holy shit.
Not his name. I don't know how the initial meeting went, but when the time for the hearing came, Kevin was once again acting as his own attorney.
Bad
This
idea.
time, I can only assume he was.
Very bad idea with knowing the scale of how the stage is set now, of how stupid this man actually is. This man is going... I can already predict, this man is going to put his foot in his own mouth multiple times and incriminate himself multiple times. I can already see where this is going. The sheer level of stupidity.
Wasn't working under a pseudonym. Keep in mind, the rest of this is totally going off of her story to me immediately after the hearing. Kevin and his mother arrived 20 minutes late. Not at all dressed for court. Casual jeans and shirts. The first thing he says when he walks in is, "Can I approach the bench?" "Why?" the judge asks. "Because I have some receipts." So, friend gets called to the stand. Her lawyer asks a bunch of questions illustrating just how crazy Kevin is and how bad things had gotten about the house and stuff. Then Kevin, since he's the lawyer, gets to cross-examine. His first question, "Is it not true that you were beaten as a child?"
I agree. Her lawyer has every right to object here because this has nothing to do with this case.
Her lawyer, objection.
And I just read the thing at the bottom. Yeah, exactly.
The question had nothing to do with anything.
I agree. He's just putting shit up out there.
Other questions included, "Is it not true that you were seeing a psychiatrist and on medication for depression?"
Also has nothing to do with the case.
No, that's not true. She'd never seen a mental health professional. Not sure if he thought he might trick her into lying on that one, or if he was so crazy, he actually thought it was true.
I would assume he's that crazy.
He asked a bunch of other ridiculous questions, which her lawyer let him ask because they were completely out of nowhere and just helped prove to the judge how nuts he was. Then he takes the stand. Her lawyer gets him to admit to pretty much everything they said he did, because it was all true, but he refuses to give specific answers to some of the more serious questions. Not no. Just doesn't want to give specifics.
Because he knows he's a piece of shit. He knows he's in the wrong and he knows he's not getting away with it. So at this point, this man has dug himself a 20-foot grave already.
Then he gets to make a statement. His statement is how he doesn't want a divorce and also she was abusive to him.
Not how I heard it in the beginning of the story, but go on.
Such as pinching him once when they were on the highway.
Pinching.
Also, the Bible says that she's his wife, so she has to do whatever he wants, and that divorce is bad.
At what point do I just get up and walk away? Because this is not going to change my opinion of this person.
How can the judge make them get a divorce when the Bible says not to? Apparently, he went on in this vein for a while. She just gave me a couple of the highlights. Needless to say, the initial hearing did not go his way.
No shit, Sherlock.
A house in the short term and a protective order against him after he admitted in court to his violence against her. The Bible says it's okay though, and
right there, he incriminated himself. You gotta love the stupidity.
quote, after this, he dragged his feet at every point of the process. For more than 6 months, he wouldn't show up to things or would refuse to sign things until the
So at what point does this man end up behind bars at the end of this?
last possible moment. He moved to a different city and apparently joined the Army Reserve. When Friend found out about this, her lawyer contacted someone there to point out that he wasn't allowed to be around weapons or something like that because of the protective order. Legal stuff that's over my head. The lawyer even contacted him and offered to drop the protective order so he could stay in if he just agreed to finishing the divorce proceedings in a timely manner. Kevin refused. In the end, he got pretty much nothing and quietly disappeared. Also, sorry if I sound off today. I woke up with a splitting migraine again and
I know how you feel there, Oz. I know exactly how you feel. I deal with that shit all the time, plus really bad allergies. And I'm suffering from it today very badly, and I have been for the last few days. I know how you feel, buddy.
it is definitely affecting my ability to read and speak. Part of me really hopes I could bear witness
I know
to
how
how
you
that
feel.
conversation went when
He's
Kevin
behind me.
first went to the lawyer's office as Mr. Steele.
He's a little shy. He's
I get the
behind me.
feeling that the lawyers probably promptly alerted him that posing as a lawyer could end him up in a lot of trouble, thus causing him to drop his really shitty and goofy persona. Let this be a valuable lesson of don't represent yourself in court. It's a really good way to end up getting screwed over by your own actions.
That, and only do so if you are capable and qualified enough to, which most cases for most everybody is a big fat fucking no.
Kevin being the shiny example of why not to do this.
Yep.
Also, I want to circle back to the fact that Kevin made napalm in the kitchen as an
Yeah?
attempt to heat the house.
Was that brought up in court? Because if so, this is where I see the legal trouble and why he's probably gonna end up behind bars.
Don't make napalm to light the fireplace. That's a really bad idea.
It's a good way to explode the fucking
also,
house.
As I found out recently while trying to figure out how to get rid of styrofoam in a non-messy way, because all the little goddamn beads that break off are just so goddamn annoying. One of the first things that Google does with its little AI bullshit tool is almost accidentally teaching you how to make a napalm adjacent substance, because it literally tells you to dissolve the styrofoam in gasoline, which you should not do, because while it is not napalm, it still produces an extremely sticky and flammable substance. Don't do that.
Don't do it.
It's very dangerous. The only reason why I bring it up is because I wonder if that's what Kevin did to try and light the fireplace, is styrofoam and gasoline, which on the internet is commonly misattributed to being a napalm recipe. And why Google's AI is recommending that as a solution to get rid of styrofoam is beyond me.
Because AI doesn't know any better, it makes many mistakes, and it's also dumb. I don't think it's had a chance to learn either, so again, use it as a practical tool, but nothing else. That's it. My opinion on it.
It also recommends acetone, but don't do that either because it produces an extremely toxic fume. Long story short, I really hate styrofoam and I have no easy way to get rid of it. And it's not even the tolerable styrofoam either, where at least it stays
Recycle
together.
the shit.
It's the kind that breaks up into 500 million different little beads of styrofoam that clings to everything and is just a nightmare to clean up, and you'll find those little bastards everywhere.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about, but vacuum that shit up and dump it in the recycle. You'll be fine.
God damn, my house is 90% styrofoam right now, and I can't figure out how to get rid of it. Actually, now that I complain about it and think about it, I do have a little spray bottle water atomizer. I might be able just to hose down some of the styrofoam.
I mean, that might work too.
Be able to better manage that. Huh. Hey, guess what? It's here. That's right, the Gamer Subs Cup is actually here. It's me,
The Gamer Subs,
but as an owl girl.
I'm sorry, I might have to skip this portion. Advanced GG, use code GEAR10 for 10% off. Shitty segue. Ignore me.
I really like owls, so I thought this would be a cool combination. If we sell enough of these, it brings me to the next step of getting my own flavor.
Get your bag, Oz.
Super cool.
Get your bag.
There's also a shirt that's being dropped with this, and their shirts are actually super goddamn cozy and comfy. I'm actually wearing one right now while recording. Linky in the description, and probably a pinned comment. Twin Mom 823. My son might be a Kevin. I've long thought my youngest might be a Kevin. We've had to explain to him that simply washing your hair and allowing the shampoo to run down your body isn't the proper way to wash up. We've had multiple conversations about remembering to lift the lid on the toilet seat before doing your business. We've had to remind him to look both ways in the parking lots because he thought it only applied to crossing streets.
It applies to everything.
Yesterday, though,
it applies to everything.
I got confirmation that he is, in fact, a Kevin. After work yesterday, my son met me at the door. He told me he had really exciting news to share. He has a girlfriend. He's only in 6th grade, and this is his first girlfriend. I asked some questions about her and asked what her name was. He doesn't know her name.
I was about to say, well, this is good for him, but something's not adding up here. How do you not know her name, and what are you not telling us?
He's been eating lunch with this girl for the last month. Has learned enough about her to know he wanted her to be his girlfriend, but never bothered to ask her name. We came up with a plan for him to ask for her phone number today and then ask her how she spells her name so he can put it in his phone after school. I just pray her name isn't something simple like Kim or Jill. Update, we have a name. He introduced the girlfriend to his sister today at school and she asked. She actually did him a solid. She said, "Wait, what's your name?" "Oh, you're the girl he's had a crush on since the first day." There is clarification in the comments. Kyle Dry comments, "Sorry, does he not lift the lid or the seat? Because one of these is way worse than the other."
She didn't say lid. You mean to tell me he tries to pee with the lid closed? That's just gonna make a mess. Literally everywhere. It's not gonna get in the toilet that way.
"And you said lid." OP responds, "I did indeed say lid." Followed up by Marky444 commenting, Was he peeing on the toilet lid?"
Yes.
OP further clarifies,
I'm about to say, at that point, you probably shouldn't have to ask the follow-up question because it's kind of obvious at this point. If you read along to that part already and then you had that comment there to go down and clarify when they did say indeed the lid, you could already put 2 and 2 together and know he was already peeing on the lid.
yes, he's no longer allowed to take the phone to the bathroom with him. OP also does clarify that so far, after evaluation, the son, Kevin, only seems to have ADHD, no other developmental disorders. Just a massive focus on the attention deficit aspect.
I'm about to say I have ADHD, but never once have I run into that issue. Sure, I struggle with focusing and keeping up schedules and shit like that because who doesn't when you have ADHD? It's a struggle. You try to do your best and your dopamine don't work exactly right, and when you don't, you get no happy feel good chemical. So with that, I don't know what kind of level of ADHD you have to have. Focus on just the AD part and then that be a thing. So you sure he doesn't have something other than ADHD? It might contribute to that. Just putting that out there. Maybe do some more testing.
Yes, indeed a Kevin. And this is coming from someone who has ADHD, by the way.
It's also coming from me too that I just said I had. So
Second Deutscher. Kevina thinks she's bilingual. Austrian here. My sister used to take in couch surfers from all across the world. Most were lovely fellows with interesting stories to tell. But one time, we hit the jackpot. We got a set of 4 American stereotypes, the ones that I used to think were only in real movies, and one of them was an airheaded cheerleader who was one hell of a pain. Since they're not relevant to the story, I won't go into detail about how rude and obnoxious Kevina behaved during the days leading up to the event. But let me tell you, at this point, even her friends were done with her. It's New Year's Eve. The couch surfers decide to stay with us instead of going out into the city, and my sis and I go about our New Year's celebration the same way we always do. Having fondue, dancing to the Blue Danube, I think, and watching dinner for one. Midnight comes and goes, and within less than 5 minutes, Kevina takes her laptop to the other room to video call her parents, leaving the door open. And off she goes, complaining loudly about how my sister and I are embarrassing as fuck, literally how she pronounced it. How that Austrian food we had sucked. As much as I would like to claim fondue for our cuisine, the French would likely be opposed. How the mountains looked fake and whatnot. My sister and I were in the living room with the others, perfectly able to hear every word, while her friends turned red as tomatoes and started giving us apologetic looks.
Okay, look. You're the friends. It's one thing to feel embarrassed, which is understandable, but you have nothing to apologize for. You've done nothing wrong. Your friend did something wrong, so no need to apologize yourself. You did nothing. Your friend, on the other hand, needs to get the fuck out.
Cue Kevina's return.
That's rude.
Marching into the living room with a carefree attitude of the ignorant dumbass. Kevina's friend. Kevina? We heard you. All of us. Kevina responds, So what? I was talking American.
I had a long pause there for a second. My mind went blank. I don't think I have anything to add to that other than American don't talk like that. Stupid talk like that, maybe. But not American.
My sister and I just looked at each other and started laughing so hard. It took us a few minutes to calm down. She had been talking to us every single day in English, but somehow that was different in Kavina's world. Her friends apologized profusely. Kavina did not because she just couldn't believe, even when we told her, that yes, we do understand American.
English.
Edit, I forgot to mention the part where she complained about stupid Austrian TV regarding Dinner for One. For those who don't know it, it's an English sketch and it was shot in the UK, well, Germany. Thanks to the commenters who pointed this out to me.
Yeah, I see the cross out there, but yeah.
Additional edit. Since a few of you were talking about it in the comments, the fondue I'm referring to is fondue, oh god, I'm not pronouncing that even in the slightest.
I'm not doing it either, so good luck to y'all.
Bourguignon? I have no idea.
I think I know how to pronounce it, but I'm not going to.
A French dish, but you are correct by pointing out that not all
He's
kinds
close.
of fondue
He was
come
close
from
with the
France.
pronunciation, though.
If anyone's curious, here it goes. And then they link a fondue history website. It's thanks to people like this, as well as a variety of other reasons, that Americans are oftentimes looked at overseas as being, well, ridiculous and stupid or uneducated. And granted, it's not entirely unjustified, but goddamn does it paint with a broad stroke. Commercial.708. Kevin doesn't believe time zones are real and thinks airlines are just gaslighting us. Kevin and I were planning a trip together.
That's next level, what's the word? That's next level, I'm trying to think of the word. I had it and now it's gone. My ADHD strikes again. It's, fuck, what is that word? Because yes, he's trying to gaslight into that, but that's not the word I'm looking for. The word I'm looking for is, conspiracy. There we go. Conspiracy theory. I think he's just a conspiracy nut.
Which in hindsight was my first mistake.
Why was that so fucking hard?
At the time, I didn't know what I was signing up for. Everything was fine until we started looking at flights. Kevin's.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna stop right now and just say this. It's been a long day. I've done a lot of shit today. I've done a lot of reactions, and I've had no fucking sleep. So cut me some slack. And I still gotta do 2 more videos after this, and it being about an hour long. So yeah, I'm all over the place today. So forgive me.
Stared at the screen for a long time, very focused. And then he said something like, "That doesn't make sense." I assumed he meant prices or layovers. He meant the concept of time. He pointed at the arrival time and said, completely calmly, "So we leave at 9 a.m. and land at 11 a.m., but the flight is 5 hours. Where did the other 3 hours go?" I explained time zones. Not rushed or sarcastic, I've learned with Kevin that tone matters.
Sometimes they go backwards, sometimes they go forwards, depending on where the fuck you are in the world.
He nodded, but in a way that felt like he was humoring me. Then he said, "No, I get what they say time zones are. I just don't think they're real." I asked him what he meant by that. He said time zones are more of a suggestion airlines use to make schedules look nicer, like a formatting thing. According to Kevin, the plane obviously takes 5 hours, so landing 2 hours later is fake math. He genuinely believed airlines just shift clocks around to avoid scaring people with long travel days. I tried another angle. I asked him why people in different countries are asleep at different times. He said, because they choose to be.
Are you a flat earther by any chance?
At some point, I realized he thought the entire world basically agreed to pretend time works differently in different places, and airlines were the biggest benefactors of the lie. He even said, "Notice how they never explain it properly? That's how you know." The wild part is that Kevin wasn't angry. He wasn't confused. He was confident. He said it like someone explaining a well-known scam, which honestly felt on brand. Later, while we were talking about budgeting for the trip, he complained that his money moves at weird times too, and that he never trusts when things actually hit his account. I mentioned I use a not a gambling app, but it does feel like an unsolicited ad. Definitely raises an eyebrow. I mentioned I use an app that watches balances and charges in the background and helps make sense of timing instead of me guessing. He paused and said, "Okay, but that's different. Money is fake
Is this guy okay? I'm about to say, hey buddy, if money's fake, can I have yours? Because I could use some right now.
anyway." We still went on the trip. Kevin arrived on time despite not believing in local time and somehow managed to make it through airport security without questioning the clocks there. To this day, I'm not sure if he secretly understands time zones and just enjoys the chaos, or if he truly believes the world collectively agreed to lie about time. Either way, I don't plan trips with Kevin anymore. Not because of the time zone thing specifically, but because I don't have the emotional energy to argue with someone who thinks time is a suggestion.
You know what? Good for you. Fair enough. And, save your time and energy. That I can respect that.
I'm still a bit caught up on the random insertion
Although I will say that's not the worst Kevin. That one seems more tame and okay, if anything, compared to the fucking first two.
of an AI app being put in there. It definitely makes my eyebrow raise.
Especially
a
the
bit,
first one.
wondering if this might just be.
I think that one's the worst.
Similar to what we saw with the gambling ones. So, to my understanding, time zones actually began to originate once we started getting telegraphs and the railway system started being built. Because before then, if you were living in a town and going off of the local time and usually going off of the position of the sun, your noon would be very different than someone's noon who's even just 100 to 200 miles away. So there's definitely complications with using solar-based timekeeping methods because my noon would be probably 10 to 20 minutes earlier than someone's noon who's a couple hundred miles away. And if you're trying to coordinate around a specific time, that's going to make things complicated.
Tell me about it, because it is always somewhat of a bitch to get most people in to do reactions and things with me, or planning around other things. Because time zones are a thing, and they are difficult with everyone's scheduling. So everyone's different. I don't have any problems with certain people for their time zone and everything. It works out fine. 5-hour difference is not that big a deal. That's fine. Maybe an hour or two behind me, that's also fine. Trying to figure some other shit out is very difficult at times. And also working around a schedule where I know they have free or not, which is really hard to do. So I fucking hate it, but they exist and they're a thing. So what can you do? Time zones exist.
So, as the railway and telegraph systems expanded, this led to the creation of the time zones to kind of give a unified time structure to everyone within specific areas. This way, rather than going off of solar time, if I said 12 o'clock, a town 200 to 300 miles away would have the same 12 o'clock instead of it being a couple minutes off. Which then the time zones were laid out with hour-long increments every 15 degrees along the longitudinal lines. This way, everyone had a semblance of normalcy with their local times while still having a somewhat coordinated time zone structure. That's a very, very, brief explanation of how it happened. I'm sure there's someone in the comment section who could give a far more detailed and probably correct version of how...
They probably could, but I would look at them with the death stare. One eye will go to the left, the other will go towards the right, and I'll just look at them with the biggest derp face you have ever seen. My mouth will just sit there wide open, drool will start dripping out, and a little loading wheel up here above my head, because I'm like, you have lost me completely. The ADHD, you have fried my brain completely, and the only way to stab me back is to get my attention with something else, because you have lost my attention completely.
time zones came to be, but it's not because of airlines. Although I would be so curious to pick this Kevin's brain and just get a taste of their worldview, because stuff like this, I have a morbid curiosity of how people come to these kinds of conclusions.
I don't.
With their day-to-day life.
I'm good.
In this age
I'm good
of
with not knowing.
Even though it's becoming as fucky as it is, how do you come to that conclusion?
Couldn't tell you.
Google
I don't
is
know.
right there.
Yeah.
You just have so many questions and curiosities as to how this is your worldview.
Yeah.
We
Couldn't
were
tell you.
here 316. Kevin.
But again, that's not the worst Kevin. I think in the order if we've seen them, it goes 1. Is it 3? Was that the third one? Because that was the fourth one that we just heard. The 1, 3, 2, 4. That's where we sit right now on the level of from worst to tame Kevin.
Thought pending charges didn't count yet, so we spent the money twice. This came up because Kevin kept complaining that his bank app was lying to him. According to him, his balance looked fine, but somehow he kept running out of money faster than expected.
You spend too much, and you don't take into account for this, that, and the other, and everything else, right? So I feel like that's what's happening here. I think you're just a shopaholic.
He was convinced the app was just slow or glitchy, that things would sort themselves out once everything settled. One day he showed me his phone to prove it. His balance looked decent, not rich, but enough that he shouldn't have been stressed. Then I noticed a bunch of charges marked as pending. Food, gas, a couple online purchases, nothing crazy. I asked him why he was ignoring all the pending stuff. He said very confidently, "That doesn't count yet. It's not real money until it posts." I thought he was joking.
That's money that's going out. That's why it's pending. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. It's pending because it's waiting to pend the process of your purchase. And once that money goes bye-bye, it is then removed from your account. And if you're spending more than you have, I'm not surprised your shit is getting denied.
But he was not. Kevin explained that pending charges were basically a preview and that he could still spend what was showing as available.
No, you cannot,
His logic
because
was
that
if
doesn't
the bank was
exist
still
anymore.
showing the money, then it was fair game. If it overdrafted later, that was future Kevin's problem.
Do not let this man do your finances.
So what would happen is he'd buy groceries, see the charge pending, then go out and buy something else because his balance still looked okay. Then the next day, everything would post at once and he'd act genuinely shocked that his account went negative. This apparently happened more than once. After watching him do this mental gymnastics, I told him he needed something that shows what's actually coming out instead of letting him argue with his bank app. Oh god fucking damn it.
That's how I feel right now too, Oz. Don't worry.
The app from earlier that we encountered, which watches balances pending. Fucking god. Watches balances, pending charges, and reoccurring stuff so you can see what's effectively already spent, even if it hasn't posted yet. A few days later, he texted me and said, "Okay, this is annoying, but I get it now." He had finally realized that pending doesn't mean optional. It just means
Exactly.
delayed. He stopped treating his balance like a suggestion and stopped double spending money that was already gone. Kevin now says things like, "I don't trust pending charges," as if they personally betrayed him. He still complains about banks, but at least now he waits for things to clear before pretending he has more money than he does. Honestly,
Well, he learned a valuable lesson at least, so that's promising. I mean, still probably a little misguided on it, but promising nonetheless. He learned.
I've never encountered a single banking app out of like the 6 or 7 banks that I've gone through that don't show pending charges as already pulled. Maybe.
Nor do I, and I hate my banking app because if you don't log into it after a certain amount of time or whatever, they lock you out and you have to go back to the bank to have them re-unlock it, which I think is a really stupid, goddamn, fucking annoying fucking thing to have for an app when I just want to log into the damn thing and see what I need. Fuck my bank, by the way. I honestly wanted to switch, but they're the best thing I have at the moment, so yeah.
There's one bank out
I'll
there that
complain about
doesn't,
banks,
this
but they're
isn't
only
a
because of their
common
app.
issue. The reason why I point that out is because it's in complete
Fuck that app,
antithesis
it's awful.
to the app they're trying to fucking advertise for.
What happened to the video?
The fact that there's been 2 of them, which shadow advertise these goddamn apps, tells me that it's spreading. It used to be, am I overreacting with gambling ads, and now it's stories about Kevin and Kevin's being dumb, but oh, don't worry, this money app that uses chat fucking GPT, that's what you gotta use to fix your money problems. Good fucking god. The fact
Yeah,
that it's
no, I
100%
wouldn't recommend
free
that.
makes me think this is some sort of financial data scraping app, which
Yeah.
So definitely, as a little bit of a PSA, if you encounter an app being randomly name dropped and you don't recognize it, just assume there's a decent chance that it might actually be an ad. Because if it's not an app that's relatively common or at least is well
Wide
known,
known,
like
yeah.
DoorDash or Amazon or, I don't know, UPS, where at least it can make feasible sense for the name to be dropped in the middle of a conversation or post. If not, I would definitely be suspicious or cautious and assume that what you might be looking at is an ad,
Yep.
even if it's undisclosed. CWU007. Kavina says all 3 computers are wrong, and she's right. I don't know if this woman
Multiple computers cannot be wrong at the same given time, so I think we're just dealing with somebody that has no idea what the fuck they're doing.
was a Kavina or a delusional Karen, but I kept saying to myself, how could someone be this stupid? And boy, is this woman an idiot, which is why I've chosen this subreddit. I'm a shift supervisor for a retail drugstore chain. Some background info. In the USA, controlled substances such as Norco, Adderall, Percocet, etc. are highly regulated. Your prescription may not be refilled early. If you have a 30-day supply of a controlled substance, you must get it on day 30 or later. Other medications such as diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol, etc. may be refilled early, just insurance might not pay for it early. Whenever a controlled substance is sold, the DEA is also notified. This is to keep track of people trying to get multiple prescriptions of the same medication from multiple doctors. Whenever a controlled substance is sold in my pharmacy, we also require government ID and enter relationship to patient. Most of the time, it's self. It's a slow Saturday afternoon and I get a call to pharmacy to handle Kevina. Kevina.
Okay.
I always pick up my prescriptions the day they're filled. I understand due to them being controlled, I can't have them sooner. They were filled on March 3rd, today is April 5th, so I should be able to refill them. However, your pharmacy says I can't refill them until tomorrow. There's something wrong with your system. Mia, do you have the receipt? Kevina, yes. Kevina hands me 4 prescription labels. 2 were of controlled substances.
Okay.
Kevina, these say March 3rd, and I always pick up on the day they're filled. The pharmacist starts signaling me that Kevina is wrong and to come over. Mia, your prescriptions were filled on March 3rd. Once they're filled, you have a week to pick them up. These labels mean nothing. Kevina, I said I always pick up my medication the day it was filled. Mia, I'm going to check our records. I'll be right back. I go back and the pharmacist shows me that the pharmacy records show that her prescriptions were picked up on March 7th.
Not the same day as she was saying, on the 3rd. They were filled the 3rd, but she says she picks them up same day. Math ain't mathin', you're 4 days late.
All with her driver's license number. I show the paper to Kevina. Kevina swears the system must be wrong. I tell Kevina I can go to the office and look up her receipt from that day. Kevina agrees. Surprise, surprise, Kevina picked up 4 prescriptions on March 7th.
Same day.
All with her name on it. Kevina swears again the system is wrong. I tell her the cash register receipt system is a separate system from the pharmacy. The pharmacist also hands me the DEA record to show Kevina picked up her prescriptions
on the
March
7th.
7th. I tell Kevina if she brings her receipt with all 4 prescriptions from March 3rd, we'll contact IT and the DEA to change the dates. I go back to have a quick talk with the pharmacy staff. They tell me Kevina has a history of trying to get her prescriptions early and throws a fit when we reject or insurance refuses. However, tomorrow is day 30, so she'll probably just pick up her prescriptions without much fuss. I thought that was the end of it, but I was wrong.
She's gonna complain
2 days
more.
Later, I'm passing through the crowd in pharmacy when Kevina sees me. Kevina, are your systems manually entered? Me. What? No, they're automatic. Something gets rung up and it's automatically entered in the system. I have a feeling this won't be my last encounter.
Nope,
with
I don't
Kevina.
think so either. I think you're gonna
This
have a
next
couple
time,
more.
I'm prepared. See, when it said 3 computers, I was expecting to be 3 different computers and going from each one and each one having like the same answer and, well, I guess I'll try the next one to see if it's gonna be anything different. I wasn't expecting it to be between a cross comparison of the store's point of sale system.
Yes, but also this is a thing of, haven't I ever told you the definition of insanity? That's doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome.
It's pharmacy, as well as the fucking DEA database. Also gotta love her trying to come back.
If it was that the
Is it
first 2
manually
times, what makes you
entered?
think it's gonna be
Maybe
different the
seeing if
3rd
I can get a
fucking
little bit of
time?
a gotcha in there. But nope, either you have a poor memory or you're trying to pull something. Either way,
Yeah.
it's definitely not the computers.
Yeah, definitely not
Also,
the computers.
It's not a nationwide thing for the exactly 30 days. I know in some states you can pretty much get it filled like 3 days early, but it's definitely a state per state.
At least in my state, you can get it literally filled the same exact day, and sometimes you may have to just wait 1 day. But other than that, nothing more than that. You just like a 1 day wait, probably. If they have it, if they don't, it may be a little longer, but you get the idea.
State kind of thing. Don't forget, this is brought to you by GamerSups. Use code odds at checkout. It's basically a caffeine powder that you put in your water, and I actually really like it. I use this on a daily basis.
And so is advanced.gg over there. Go get you some advanced as well using my code as well. Some good stuff. I've drank it before and I love it. And also, I can swear by this at least. The two that I've drank, that shit, not, I will say it did keep me wired, but I didn't feel like shit after drinking it. That, and I didn't feel like awful or horrible after drinking it at all. And honestly, it was really good. I would like to get more myself, but I am broke bitch right now, so it is what it is. I'll get some more later. But if y'all want some, go right ahead. Use my code, and I promise you, you'll enjoy it. Support Oz too. I just want to throw that out there. Do a little shameless plug after he threw one in there. Why not?
Don't forget that every purchase you make using code ODDS directly supports the channel.
Mine also does, by the way, because I get a small commission on that, and it will help me do more for the channel. So
And if you
I would
want
appreciate
a
it greatly.
personal recommendation from me, I would either recommend the Soda Pressing Pear or Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are currently my favorite flavors. And as a note, once we sell a certain amount of stuff, I get my own flavor and my own cup. And you...
Okay, Oz, don't threaten me. Don't threaten me, Oz. I'm sorry. He finally came out from behind me. But all right. With that, I hope you all enjoyed the video. I definitely have opinions on some of these Kevins. Some not so bad. One pretty much crazy. Two downright pieces of shit. But, you know, you get the idea. But either way, the original video will be in the link in the description below. Go support Oz. Also, as well as all my other stuff and my link to everything else will also be in the description below, as well as a way to support the channel a different way if you don't want to do advanced.gg or anything like that. So just throwing that out there as a way and everything too. And also go check me out on my gaming channel. I don't really shout it out too much because it's kind of brand new, but you know, if you guys want to see Let's Plays and things like that of the old school era, because I try to do old school Let's Plays and bring that back from like 2009 era, it's something to put on the background and enjoy and listen to. So, you know, I don't see much of an issue on that if you just want to do that too. So with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. You have yourselves a good one.